here we go. All right, I'll call to order this June 14th Habersham County Board of Education regular meeting. First up, if we would, Mr. Westmore will lead us with the invocation.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day today. Thank you for all the many blessings you've given us, Father. And as we come together tonight, I pray, God, that you'll give us the wisdom and the knowledge that we need to do to make decisions for our young people here in our school system. Again, Father, we want to thank you for a wonderful year and keeping us all safe. And we plan for our next coming year. I pray, God, that you'll just open the doors that we can have all the safety and everything from the dreaded disease that we've had over the past year. I pray, God, that you'll just continue to protect us and continue to bless our school system. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
All right, now if Mr. Duncan could lead us in the pledge.
I'll stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next up, we'll approve our agenda. Board members, you've had the agenda in front of you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand or by voice. I see your hand. Okay. All right. Vote. Motion carries. All right. Next up, you've had a chance to look at the minutes from the work session on May the 6th, the regular board meeting on May the 10th, call board meeting on May the 21st, annual whole board training session on May the 27th, and the GSBA summer conference June 10th, 11th, and 12th. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, there was no public comment. All right, next up on the agenda would be the financial report. Ms. Stacy. Good evening.
So glad we have good technology. I want people to do it because I don't do it very well. Please bring your report for the period July 1, 2020 through May 31, 2021. Okay, and we'll start with our first chart that tells us our general fund revenue and expenses. This is the comparisons against last year. As you can see in the first bar, we're at 74.33 million. That's our current year revenue up to date, as opposed to 68 million last year at this point. Go back, Dennis, one. Yeah. 74 is our budget. We're at 68.53 versus 69 last year. I didn't think that sounded right. Expenses at 71 budgeted, 65 actually expended versus 67 last year. So right on target for budget. Everything's in great shape there. Okay. Local revenue year-to-date comparison. We have ad valorem on the left there at 17.12 versus 16.25, all coming in extremely good there. We have our ELOS in the next set of blocks at 7.48 versus 6.25 last year. And then we move on to the next, which is actually real estate and intangibles at 631 versus 408 and 366 versus 343. So again, just a good steady revenue stream there for local. The next chart shows you our actual expenditures by function, again in the general fund. Student instruction is always going to be the largest piece of that pie at 68.79%. Each of the underlying categories are in support of student instruction. So everything is just as we expect there. Okay, before we move on to ELOS, is there any questions about Johnson? Okay. Moving on to ESPLOST 5. You can see our trend is actually moving up as it's always done this year. We are actually at 7.5 million right now for the period July through May. We do expect to get 7.9 based on the trend. So it's extremely strong. If you'll recall though, back in the fall, just to make sure everybody remembers, we had an extra 460,000 when they did that audit. So just keep that in mind. Okay.
Still pretty strong.
It's very strong, very strong. Okay, ESPLOST 5, these are the cumulative expenditures that you all have approved by project category through May 31. Just a quick overview to show you where all of those funds actually go. Debt service, of course, being the largest piece. And as we've talked about many times, that's actually the high school in Fairview. Okay. Okay. Any questions I can answer for you on the financial report? You got everything else in your packet. Please let me know anytime you have a question and we can certainly get the answers for you there. If it's okay with you all, we're going to move right along into the budget for FY22. You do have this as a business item for later this evening, board. You have just a short PowerPoint there in your packet. It says final budget for all funds on it. This is the culmination of a good 6 months worth of work, from all the way down to our teachers, principals, everyone does their part to bring all this information together to you so that we can actually come up with our budget and strategic plan for next year. So what we actually have as our budget goals for 22 are to balance our revenue and expenditures, always a goal. We want to continue progress on our strategic plan and meet those increased student needs. As Mr. Cooper has shared numerous times over the past few months with all the things we all had to deal with, the student needs have also gone up. Okay, so those are our goals. Okay, this is the actual final budgets for all funds. This is what was published in the newspaper twice as required by law. We've also had our 2 public hearings as required by law. The first column actually shows you our general fund. Second is debt service. Third, capital project. Special revenue is the 4th column, which is your nutrition. All your federal dollars are in your special revenue. And the grand total all funds is the last column. And we have actually gone over those line by line. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those now. We're in great shape. Revenues and expenditures obviously balanced. So we believe that we have all the funds that we need to meet our student needs for next year. I'm very excited to bring this budget to you all for approval later this evening.
Awesome.
Questions or comments? Okay, there's a couple more steps on the very last slide just to show you. If you all do approve this tonight, we will post it on our website for everyone to see in the public. Again, it's already out there in draft form. We do expect the tax digest to come in from the county, and we will get those preliminary numbers for rollback rate for millage. You all are anticipated to approve that in July 19th. And then, of course, we have to do some advertising for that as well, our 5-year history. And then once the millage is approved, then it goes to the county, they approve, and then we can actually move forward with everything, budget. Okay, any questions? We're in great shape financially, board, and just looking forward to another successful year. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up on our agenda tonight would be the superintendent's report, Mr. Cooper.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Nelson, for this opportunity. I will not be saying a whole lot tonight. Instead, I believe to your pleasure, you'll get to hear from a couple of guests that are with us, as well as watch a video that I believe is going to be very inspiring with you. So Dennis, let's start with the video. If you can cue that up. And board members, let me give you some background on the video you are about to watch. Featured in the video is Mandy Wilson, who was a 5th grade teacher at Woodville Elementary School. You're not going to believe what you're about to see. Miss Wilson had a student in pre-K who reached out to her this year that is now graduating from college. And I was at Woodville towards the end of the school year, and I heard this story firsthand from her mouth. And I said to myself, we have to showcase this at an upcoming board meeting. Everyone needs to hear this story. It's going to touch you. And so I want you to think about that for a moment. One of our teachers that teaches 5th grade at Woodville right now worked with a young lady who was in pre-K at Auburn Elementary School, who has now graduated from college, graduated from Piedmont, and reached out to her old teacher to thank her for what she had done in her life. Let's just watch it. Linda, could we turn the lights off there? I'll get these back to the back.
I am good this way.
Hi, my name's Mandy Wilson. I just finished my 18th year in the Habersham County School System. I most recently have taught 5th grade at Woodville Elementary. As a teacher, we often get asked the question, why are you a teacher? Why do you do this? In 2004, I was the pre-K teacher at Baldwin Elementary. This was my first year of having a classroom with students that were just mine. Mara Cruz was one of my students in my class that year. I only stayed at Baldwin for 3 more years after that. I lost touch with all of my students from that first year once I moved to Fairview Elementary. Fast forward to her senior year, I received an invitation for Mara Cruz's graduation at Habersham Central High School. It was such an honor to get to be there at her graduation. This year during Teacher Appreciation Week, I received an email from Mara Cruz. She was going to be graduating from Piedmont University with a degree in nursing. She asked me to attend the nursing pinning ceremony as one of her guests. While at the pinning ceremony, I had the honor of going on stage with Mara Cruz and her parents as Mara Cruz was pinned a nurse.
Hello, my name is Mary Cruz Flores, and I just recently graduated with a Bachelor's of Nursing from Piedmont College, or now University. I just wanted to highlight the great influence my pre-K teacher has had on this achievement. In pre-K, I had Mandy Wilson, or as I know her, Miss Wilson, and she was one of the greatest teachers I have ever had. There are very few teachers that show great care and compassion, and I am so blessed to have had Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson has kept up with me for these 17 years, and there has just never been a teacher like her. I remember in pre-K where me being a Mexican background, first-gen Hispanic student, my parents did not have the necessary resources or even education or anything to know how the American school system worked. And Miss Wilson, her first year as a teacher, just stepped up to the plate and helped us all as a classroom go forward, and she planted that seed of knowledge in us, and that's something that I'm super grateful to this day. I remember this specific one time in 9th grade, she emailed my counselor because she had seen me on the honor roll just to see how I was doing, and then after that it just kept going. It was nothing extraordinary that she did. She just emailed me, and sometimes we saw each other. I remember I saw her for my high school graduation. But it's those little things that really matter to me, and that has greatly influenced me to become who I am today. And Ms. Wilson, thank you so much for being there for me always, and you will always be my teacher. Thank you.
Teaching is not an easy job. Anyone in the education profession knows this. However, times like this make it all worthwhile. This is my why.
Wow.
So, there's a lot going on there, board. First of all, we have one of our Hispanic students new to the country as a young child. Starts pre-K at Baldwin Elementary School. She was in our school system for her entire school career, from pre-K to her senior year, graduated from Habersham Central in 2018, and now has graduated from Piedmont University, an RN who may take care of one of us. They save our life. And then you have a teacher that's spent her entire career in Habersham County, 18 years now, getting ready to start year 19. And this is just one student she's touched. You understand that? Can you even imagine how many students Miss Wilson, how many lives she's changed in her 18 years with us? I can't imagine. This is just one story that we know about. You need to see this.
Pretty phenomenal.
Now, gee, you don't want to follow that. You don't want to follow that. Let me let Ms. Fran go next, don't you? Would you agree?
That'd be fine.
So,
You're in charge.
You're in charge. Fran, why don't you come to the podium? Now, board, for several months now, I've been showcasing the principal at board meetings. This is a special presentation because, as you are aware, Ms. Blackburn is retiring this year. You've had a wonderful career.
Yes,
In
sir.
Habersham County. And we had an opportunity as leaders to celebrate Fran back first week of June. We had our big end of the year meeting and had a chance for Fran to speak, and lots of our principals and leaders spoke about Fran, so we've taken care of that. I thought it would be appropriate for Fran to be the one to speak to you tonight. So Fran, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, board, for having me tonight. I stand before you tonight as a retired principal at Hazel Grove Elementary. But tonight I get to highlight the great things that have gone on there for the last 3 years. I started off at Hazel Grove as an academic coach. So I was ahead of the game building relationships with teachers and staff. I soon found out that I couldn't do the job alone, so I adopted the shared leadership philosophy. I adopted the philosophy that we would love our students first, and then we teach them. I always ask in a decision, is this best for kids? I changed our motto from a small school with a big heart to building the foundation. I definitely think we have a big heart, but I knew in the future that we would be building the foundation. I also found out that many people really didn't know where Hazel Grove was or what it was. So I set out on a mission to change that, from contest to being on the radio numerous times. People started noticing our school. Some of the highlights of what we have accomplished: we built 4 new regular education classrooms. We built 2 special classrooms in the gym. My all-time favorite is we built a new parking lot where we could get the cars off of Dix Hill Parkway. We changed from a small school of 120 students to close to 300 students when we did the reallocation. We had nationally known people come to our school to talk about My Love literacy. Jan Brett and Malcolm Mitchell were there to come and talk about the importance of reading. Each student got a copy of their own book. We added a new program, Futures, for 3rd through 5th grade that was housed at Hazel Grove. We added a program that I always wanted at Hazel Grove Pre-K, which is dear to my heart. When we won big by going to nationals in archery to Kentucky, and we had national winners in the Read with Malcolm reading contest. We made it through a pandemic and set our minds to do whatever we had to do to keep our kids at school. So I leave you with a school that is larger in size and with more students. I leave you with a new parking lot. Those things you can see, but I hope I leave the legacy of love first and teach second.
Someone wise told me, and he's sitting right over there, if you lead your school, if you can lead your school and know that it will run, you've done your job. Well, I've done my job. You have a faculty and staff that could run the school even if I wasn't there. I've made it that way. I started out with my first year with teachers saying, can I? In the second year, it was, what do you think about this? And the third year was, let me tell you what I did. I would be remiss if I didn't mention people at the central office that supported me. Angela Robinson was always there to answer my HR questions. And honestly, she's an unsung hero in my opinion. People don't really get to see all of her accomplishments and what she accomplishes. Denise Gunn, who was my sounding board during the renovations and helped me remain calm, even when it felt like things were not going to be accomplished. Rhonda Andrews, who is such a role model for me. She has always given me great advice and has never minded when I called to say, do you have a minute? Mr. Cooper, who has been my cheerleader and told me to never, ever give up. The principals that I work with have been an ear to listen and a shoulder to cry on when needed. The board, you have also supported me. You listened to me when I had requests. You even came out to my school to see how things were going. You have called me on the first day of school to tell me to have a great year. You have looked at my Facebook post during the pandemic when I asked, what do you think? And you joined me even when I was reading with Fran on Facebook during that time. You simply said, you can do this. I appreciate that more than you will ever, ever know. Therefore, I leave you with the best elementary school in the state, Hazel Grove Elementary School.
All right. Well said, Fran, and you certainly are leaving a great school to Amy Shedd.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure there will be multiple times throughout the coming year and years where she'll be thankful for your leadership and the legacy that you will have left there at Hazel Grove Elementary School. So publicly, I want to thank you as your superintendent, as your former superintendent now,
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
for always putting students first, pouring your entire life into that school, friends. That's what you did. You poured your entire life into it. And you're still smiling.
Yes, sir.
So thank you so much for being here tonight. Let's give Fran a big hand for her service. Thank you. And now we finish the superintendent's report with Mr. Jeet Cunningham, System-Wide Athletic Director. And yes, you have to come to the podium.
All right.
I know you would rather stay there, but we're going to walk you right over there.
Yes, sir.
Put you in the spotlight where the cameras can see you. And Jeep is going to give us a year in review for the athletic department. Boy, I saw that list, Jeep, some impressive things on there. Go ahead.
Not bad. Really not fair. You made me come up here after that video. You do it, gave me that choice.
Right.
And then she does this cheery thing right here, reading and all, and I'm not that guy, you know, I got a list, but, I don't know if Ms. Blackburn knows, my first job 43 years ago was PE teacher at Hazel Grove Elementary School. It was the first year of the PE at the elementary schools, and I had Cornelia Elementary, the two schools in Cornelia and Hazel Grove. And I was at Hazel Grove 2 days a week. That was a lot of fun. That's unreal.
Part of the foundation in a small way.
I don't know. It was fun though. And Ms. Ramsey, the archery deal,
Yes, sir.
yeah, athletics.
Oh, yeah.
We were part of that, weren't we?
Yes.
And that was fun. That was great for those kids. Last year, COVID, wow, you know, it just, you know, wiped out a lot of things. I made a little note there, and I'm very proud of this. And I'll tell you straight up, Nurse Crystal, she's team MVP.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. She is the MVP of this whole athletic COVID thing. Because without her, we could have got nowhere. But, the two things with the COVID, you know, outside of the safety, because we went through so many safety protocols to, for our kids, our teams, to go through questions every day, this, that, and all these kind of checks. But we canceled 0 games, 0. Middle school, high school, 0. We didn't cancel the game. Our kids, they signed up to play. And so we were gonna play. And if they were quarantined or out, then we took care of them. But the next guy or girl, they played, and we played. And the other thing is, we didn't limit the attendance of our people at the games. And I thought that was fantastic. That was y'all and Mr. Cooper that went with that. And you know, where other people were 20% of this and 25% of that. So you're telling, so moms and daddies, you can't go watch your child play, or grandma and grandma, they can't go. We didn't tell anybody they couldn't go. I thought that was really good. And we've got a lot of comments from the schools in Gwinnett and all the athletic directors and coaches that wish that they could have done it that way. Financially, gate money, we lost. You know, we lost gate money during the year because of COVID, because the visiting people didn't come much. And we had folks that didn't get there too. But that's okay. We were fine. We had saved and we took some precautions, so it turned out okay. But you know, we did take a little financial hit. And now we're wide open. We're ready to roll, and it's good. Our middle school, if you look down there, region champions, football. 7th grade girls and boys basketball, 8th grade boys basketball, girls and boys soccer, cross country. We won a lot. Yeah. We won a lot of games, region deals in the middle school.
Middle school cup, we probably won.
I would think,
Yeah.
you know, we did good. And whether people are with it or not, part of the reason is we combine them up. And, you know, we're Raiders. Everybody's a Raider. And I thought it was great. High school, go down that list, football, first round of state playoffs, comp cheer, went to sectionals, cross country, had a boy that won the region individually. Softball, first round of state playoffs. Girls basketball, region runner-up, second round of state playoffs, won and hosted a state tournament game at home. Wrestling, second in the area in duels, go to state, 6 individual state qualifiers. Swim, 5 individual state qualifiers. Baseball, first round of state playoffs. Girls golf, area champions, finished 8th in the state tournament. Boys golf went to sectionals. Girls track had 1 individual region champion, and she was a state qualifier. Boys track had 1 region champion individual, had 4 different runner-ups, 11 sectional qualifiers, and 5 guys that went to the state track meet. Girls soccer, first round of state playoffs. Boys soccer, won a state playoff game and went to the second round. That's a lot of teams. That's a lot of teams that went on after the regular season was over with. I am tickled to death and very proud of our coaches and players for that. I don't know. I don't have the history books, but I'll tell you what, I don't know if there's one that got more than that. That's a lot. We have 14 Habersham Central High School graduates that are going on to play college sports at the next level. I didn't list all the names there. It was in the paper Friday, I think. But 14 kids to go in and play, that's a pretty good number. Pretty good number. Head coaching changes. We'll have 3 at the high school, cross country. The ladies, you know, dropped out, and Raven Kinsey's taking that. Swim will be Annette Cochran, and boys basketball is Eric Mosley. Only 3. That's pretty good, you know. I feel good about that. We've got 1 middle school wrestling we're still looking for. Got to find that. But outside of that, we've got most of them filled up. Everything's pretty well set. The next thing on the list is I've got academic and athletic scholar awards. That's something we started 2 or 3, 4 years ago with Dr. Cantrell, where we combined with academics and athletes and honor roll and cumulative average above 90. And we're getting more and more every year. And they love getting that certificate now. They really like it. So that's a good thing. Spring football this spring, we had over 100 middle school kids. 100.
Is that a record? Has to be.
Well, that's a bunch. I don't know. That's a bunch.
That's the most we've seen.
Didn't have enough equipment.
No, we don't have enough equipment for it. You know, we you know, we'll be back later to talk about that. We over 100. We had over 100 high school kids. So we had somewhere around 230 kids in spring football. And that number probably is the heat comes and up get to the fall, it'll probably drop a little bit, but that's a lot of kids involved. The next thing on the list, summer camps are back. You know, last year we didn't have any, couldn't do summer camps. Kids want to play. They want to play. So today I got to school today, we went and got Mr. Striblin. I said, come on, let's go. We'll go down to the gym. See how many we got girls basketball kids. Went down there, 70. Wow. That's 70 kids, 70 girls down there, girls basketball kids. I said, let's just make a round. He said, what do you mean? I said, let's go over to the high school. We got in the car, rode over to the high school. Out back, soccer, over 100. We had over 100 kids at soccer camp. Wow. Walked down to the field in the weight room. The weight room was full, just full of kids lifting, and then there's another group running down there, and then they're swapping. So I would venture to say on our campus today, we had probably over 300 kids at some point in time on that campus participating in athletics. And that's pretty good. Now, that didn't count last week, because last week we had baseball camp, and that was a full house. You know, then we had to cancel the basketball camp because the coaching changed, and we just couldn't put him out there with that coming right, you know, didn't know, just couldn't do it. So we had to cancel that one. Hopefully we can get that rescheduled. But we've got volleyball coming up. We've got golf one coming up. You know, it's all summer long. And I think that's just fantastic. Those kids coming out there to our school. That next one's a good one. Coach Brooks. And we had a couple of girls that wrestled this year. And he said, let's just start our own. I said, what do you mean? He said, let's just start our own group. And they will wrestle each other. And there's some teams that have girls wrestling. So we're going to give it a try. We're going to try it out in the winter. We're going to see how many we can get and see if we can get if we can get 5 or 6, that's enough. We can have a little girls wrestling group, and then they get a chance to go wrestle and qualify to go to state. And if we can get enough that we can wrestle the girls against the girls. Yeah. And hopefully that's what we can do. So instead of having to have a girl, hope there's another girl there, or end up wrestling with boys, which they do until they go to state. So we're going to give that one a shot. Digital ticketing. We're talking about this with GoFan. Everywhere we go, you got your phone, and there it is. You know, and Jeep's scared of that stuff, so we didn't do it last year. And well, we're talking about doing it, and
As an alternative.
we're gonna have a money box too.
Right.
So like as you come in the football gate like this side, if you got your phone, there you go. You want to pay a ticket over here, there you go. We're gonna have a money box too. But we're gonna try it out. And the thing about it, if it doesn't work, all you have to do is stop. You know, we just stop doing it if it doesn't work. And nobody has to do it. It's not the only way to get in, but it will help us, especially with the visiting folks, because they're used to it. That's all they do. And when we go off now, you're not gonna get in with a $5 bill. You're gonna have the app on your phone or whatever it is. So we'll try it out a little bit, and then have a money box too, and get it both ways. Reclassification. You hear a lot of talk about reclassification. In the beginning, this past year, they were not going to do it, and we were going to stay in the same class This is the second year of a cycle. So this year coming up, and they were not going to reclass, which means they were going to do 2 more. So we've gone through 1 year of a 2-year cycle, which basically meant we would go 3 more years with the same group. That's not going to happen. They got enough folks, and they're going to reclassify. So that process will start in October when we get our FTE numbers, and then it gets started. I anticipate we should be fine, pretty solid right where we are, not moving up. I think we'll probably lose a couple for sure. Decula, probably Shiloh could go, but then other folks got to come in and be some shifting around. Everybody talks about Buford, but you just don't know, because you don't know how many are out of district students that end up counting twice. So you don't know what's going to happen there. That's pretty much got all I've got. I thought we had a great year. I thought we had a great year, a really good year for a lot of senior kids to go out feeling successful. And, if y'all got any questions or something you want to know about, or hit me up. I'll do my best. We didn't talk about projects. Denise handles that. So
That's right. I was gonna say.
we'll let her deal with
You
that.
sort of answered that, Chief, just for the secretary. I was gonna ask you, as far as uniforms, equipment, and facilities, I'm pretty happy with what we got so far, what we need, or I guess that'd be at a later date.
Yeah, I tell you what we did, like this year, what we tried to do to save was not buy uniforms. If we didn't buy uniforms this year, that would save us some money and then offset the COVID, what we weren't gonna get. And we had done, I think, a pretty good job of making money and saving, not keeping it in the bank, but just staying ahead. So if something bad hits, we're okay. We're okay. So we're in good shape financially. The way we've got it budgeted, every athletic team is in the black.
Yeah.
So come July the 1st, no athletic team will be broke. And now to the summer camps, that's great for those kids. I mean, it's great. But it's also a fundraiser too, in a way, because that helps. See, we missed all of that last year. We didn't get anything, and those programs take that and goes to booster clubs, and they got money. That's a good question.
I'd just like to say, I think Jeep for all he does. I know where his heart is, where his interest is. I've known him all my life, and I can't think of a better person to be doing what he's doing right now. We're just proud to have you, glad and honored to have you on our staff, and hope you'll stay a long time.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's the best job I've ever had. I know that. So I gotta try not to mess it up.
Your time may get extended later on if you hang out when we, talk about Mr. Tripper's contract. I mean, you have to stay a little longer. Just let you know.
Well, I appreciate the support y'all give us.
Stay right there, Jeep. I appreciate those comments, Mr. Westmore. Jeep, I want to publicly thank you, as Mr. Westmore did, for pouring your life into our athletic program. But you know what the athletic program is? You and I know what it is. Students.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's students, and it's their families, and it's this community, it's people. And you're a people person. Everyone in this room knows this. I don't believe anyone can be as effective as Jeep has been for us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone else doing that job. And to your point, Mr. Nelson, Jeep, I want Jeep to be around as long as I'm here. We can't be around that long. I seriously can't imagine someone else doing your job. That's how I feel about Jeep. I want to say that to you publicly. Man gives his whole life. He could be out on the golf course, living out his retirement years. We're not going to talk about how old you are, Jeep. I know. But my point is, you choose to keep working. You choose to keep working because, as you just said, you like?
Well, Mr. Cooper, there were people when I was in school that did a lot for us. And Mr. Duncan, he knows that. And, we reaped a great benefit, and it's fun trying to give back for what we had. So I appreciate that.
We appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Sure
Let's
do.
get you behind.
Thank you.
And with that, that concludes the superintendent's report for June.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Very good report as usual. All right, board members, next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of per diems, work session May the 6th, the regular board meeting on May the 10th, call board meeting on the 21st, the annual whole board training on the 27th, and then the summer conference, which was the 9th, the 10th, 11th, and the 12th. That we just all returned from. I'm not sure if I saw any field trips or not, because we're in the summertime. I would say not. Oh, is there? Where are they at? I'll have to mention those if I can find them here. Oh, there we are. Oh, yeah, there's a few. All right, varsity football team camp in Waleska. If you've never been there, that's the home of Reinhardt University. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from here. FFA officer training in Tybee Island, the Beef and Cattle Goat Show in Perry, Georgia, bidding clinic and show, another FFA trip in Perry, the Georgia National Fair and Livestock Show in October, and the Georgia National Fair and Swine Show in Perry also in October. So getting a head start on some of the field trips that'll be out there. You like it when they don't come in last minute, don't you, Mr. Cooper?
Oh, yes.
And then also the FY22 CTAE local plan. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
He beat you to the punch, Dr. B.
That's okay,
All right.
as long as it gets there.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Raise your hand. 5-0, motion carries. All right, next up is the business section of the program tonight. First up is the approval of the financial report. Mr. Cooper?
I recommend the board approve the May 2021 financial report as presented by our CFO.
Would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to approve the May 2021 financial report as presented by our CFO and recommended by the superintendent.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. 5-0, motion carries. All right, next up is the approval of the FY 2022 final budgets for all funds, pay scales, job descriptions, and master fundraiser list. Would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the FY 22 final budgets for all funds, pay scale, job descriptions, and master fundraiser.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. 5-0, motion carries. All right, next up is the approval of personnel recommendations. Mr. Cooper, I'd like to speak on that.
Yes, sir. I have that list here in my hand. I know that you have it there before you. We have a retirement, a resignation, some transfers for next school year, one recommendation for this school year, and then a number of recommendations for next school year. If you'll notice, Vanessa Burns is retiring. Vanessa has done a wonderful job. Most recent in our driver's education department, my son Luke has spoken of Ms. Burns often and has told me how much he not only learned from the driver's education teachers, but from Ms. Burns in the classroom. She did a lot of the classroom work with our students and told them a lot of stories and shared experiences with her students from across the years. And so I'm very thankful for Ms. Burns, not only as superintendent, but as a dad. And we can only imagine how much safer she has made our roads right here in Habersham County. That's not something we think about a lot. But we have a fantastic driver's ed program in our school system. You know, a lot of school systems did away with it. I won't name those tonight, but there are some in the surrounding areas that do not have it. Those parents have to go privately pay for that training for their students. And so it's a pretty important program. And so Ms. Burns definitely deserves to be recognized tonight for her service, and wish her all the best in her retirement. She will finish out one more semester with us. And then December 31st will be her effective date. So we do have Ms. Burns one more semester. Other than that, though, Board, I would ask you to approve the personnel list that is before you.
All right. We'll entertain that motion.
Approve personnel recommendations as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Vote, motion carries. All right, next business item is to approve an offer from Habersham County for the sale of 5.65 acres off of Demers Mount Airy Highway. For anybody that's not familiar with this piece of property, it is a property that is in the hole at the corner of Demers Mount Airy Road and 365, where there's generally some soccer goals set down there, some weekend soccer games went on down there. But I think the county's plan is to build an extensive EMA facility there that will house not only that operation, but as well as some ambulances that can do nothing but keep our schools safer right there where they're at in case an emergency would arise, but also fast access to Highway 365 north and south for anything that might happen as far as any kind of accidents in the county that would need the emergency vehicle services. Anything else you'd like to speak on that?
Well, you covered it well, Mr. Nelson. I would like to commend the board for continuing to demonstrate a partnership with the county. This is not the first time we've worked with the county on something to make our county better. And in this instance, as you pointed out, to even make our schools safer. I'm excited as superintendent to have that new EMA station right there where Demers Elementary and Wilbanks Middle School are located. And then very short ride up to Habersham Central, the 9th grade academy, the Success Academy, right there on the 4-lane. Not to mention that, and you know this, Rob, it's one of the most dangerous intersections in the entire county. And you hate to say it's nice to have the EMS right there, but it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate that is such a dangerous intersection, but this will probably save lives. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but the county choosing that piece of land will probably save lives.
Well, not only that, but our high school, safety is always a huge thing, and our system safety team, which is led by Adam Bagwell, works hand in hand with EMA services as well, that goes over our safety plan and everything like that. So I can see that being very convenient as far as any meetings that may need to take place or anything like that.
And it should be pointed out, I think too, the county approached us.
Yeah, the county,
The county approached our school board about purchasing this land. I believe it's public knowledge, the county had some difficulty in finding suitable land. I believe that's public knowledge. And it was very important to our county leaders to establish this new EMA station. So really worked out well for everyone involved. It's going to be a benefit to our school system from a safety standpoint, but it's going to benefit the entire county as well, not just the school system.
All right, I will entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the offer from the Habersham County for for sale of the 5.65 acres on Demers Mount Airy Highway for the price of $249,600. Further, authorize Mr. Cooper as superintendent to execute any sales agreement or other documents necessary to bind the agreement.
Second from Doug. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. 5-0, motion carries. All right, next item is to approve the first reading of policy JB, student attendance. Anything need to be said on that?
I really don't want to rehash the nice presentation that Principal Scriven made in the work session. I'll just point out very briefly that there are a couple of additions to the policy that had to be made per state law, and then there are some things that are being deleted from the policy at the recommendation of our secondary principals. I think what's important to note here is the changes are good for our families and our students, positive changes. So I would ask you to approve this first reading.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of policy JV student attendance as presented.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. 5-0, motion carries. All right, next up is the approval of the final reading of the policy GBIA, teacher evaluation appeals. I think this is also brought on from recommendations from GSBA, correct?
Right, we've covered this in a work session. I've already had a first reading. We had no public comment on this that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So this will be the final reading on that.
All right, I'll entertain that motion.
Make a motion to approve the final reading of policy GBIA, teacher evaluation appeals as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. 5-0. Motion carries. All right, our last item will be the approval of a one-year extension of Superintendent Cooper's contract. Let me say that, I'll just speak for everyone here that we certainly appreciate the job that Mr. Cooper has done, not only over the last several years, but especially last year during the kind of year that we had. Always looking out for the students, always what was best, doing everything we could do to have school. Every time we talk, we're going to school. We're going to have school. If we have to go away from school, we're only going to do it for a week or two, and then we're coming back. We're not doing this shutting down for however long. We're not doing it. We're going to be face to face because that's what's best. And, you know, it worked out for us. I mean, we did what we thought was best. And at the end, I mean, like Jeep said, athletic wise, no cancellations, you know. School wise, did we have some cases? Sure, we had some cases. We would have had cases if we didn't have school. I mean, that was the way that was going to be. But I think that to a person and the teachers and children, they wanted to be in school. I mean, these kids, I had some at home that were driving me nuts. And then, you know, they just wanted to be back in school, wanted to be with their friends, wanted to see people. So we certainly appreciate Mr. Cooper for that. He did an excellent job this past year. We went over his evaluation to a person. Everyone thought he did an excellent job. To Mr. Cooper's credit, he could not do another year and ride off into the sunset and retire. But he said, you know, what fun would that be for Jeep? So he had to stay another year. But we were able to convince Mr. Cooper, hey, you know, we'd like for you to stay at least another year. You know, some things going on in the school system. We just want to continue on and set up for the future and have the future people, the next superintendent, whoever that might be, have them ready to come in here and have things set up. Mr. Cooper's agreed to do that. We are very gracious of that. We're going to offer him a one-year extension, which would take him on through June 30th of 2024, Jeep, so you might want to talk to Sue Ellen about that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, just making sure.
Y'all signing me up that 3-year deal?
Well, we did fall here.
You got to negotiate with Mr. Cooper, you know. I hear you. All right, so that being said, I would entertain a motion for the 1-year extension.
I'll make a motion to extend, 1-year extension of Superintendent Cooper's contract. I'm proud to do it.
All right, and that'll be valid through June 30th, 2024. I would entertain a second.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
That means I'll have to renew my certificate again.
Yes, you need to do that.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand. A big 5-0.
Well, let me just say how grateful I am for members for not just the extension, but the past 9 years. Believe it or not, I'm getting ready to start year 10. I just cannot believe it. And there's no other place I would want to be. And I've said before, if I thought there was a better place to be, I'd be trying to get there, you know? But instead, I'm very happy and thankful. And I thank God every day. Every day when I say my prayers, I thank Him for this opportunity to be the superintendent of the school system. So I'm proud of this board that we have right now. And I heard it at least twice today. Boy, we got a good board, don't we? I hear it all the time, just so y'all know. And I always answer, absolutely. We have a great board. A board that's trying hard to work together to accomplish our mission. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we thank you. And at this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, Dr. B. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, raise your hand. 5-0, motion carries. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David.
See you.
If you speak